Yo, what's happening, fanbase? Much to my surprise, this was the most requested target for episode 2 of Pokemon Honest Descriptions after the starter vid. I was expecting every legendary, to be honest, so this came as quite the surprise, especially because the pseudo legendaries are some of my favorite Pokemon ever. For those of you who don't know, pseudo legendaries are powerhouse Pokemon whose total stats add up to 600. And brief disclaimer, this video is satire. A lot of viewers of my honest descriptions on the every starter got mad triggered that I was biased or that I insulted Pokemon. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point here. That's what satire is. So, I hope you're ready for an honest description, that was sarcasm, on every pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Hope I can either get you to laugh, get you triggered, or preferably both. Starting with Dragonite, an epic dragon Pokemon that according to the Emerald's Pokedex can circle the entire Earth in 16 hours, allowing it to be able to move at 2,500 kilometers per hour, with its majestic, massive, manly wings, making it unstoppable. Unless, of course, you're Team Rocket with the frying pan. Then, totally stoppable. Also, once we're on this scene, why the shit did they use a freaking mythical beast like Dragonite as a messenger when they could have gotten a freaking Pidgey? But anyway, this Pokemon is 7'3", and that's plainly true as we can see here. The Pokedex entries about this chubby little dragon go from early entries of how it's extremely rare, and it is said to live deep in the seas. And then they drop the act because Lance, the strongest of the Kanto Elite Four, is in possession of one of these badasses and uses it to attack Team Rocket. His reasoning for that is stated several times in the manga and in Silver. It's because Team Rocket is prematurely evolving Magikarps. Yeah, this is a terrible crime, of course, especially coming from Lance, someone with a Dragonite below level 55, meaning he technically prematurely evolved a Dragonair, but not that the rules apply to everyone. Speaking of Magikarps and Gyarados, Dragonair is the same colors and build as Gyarados. Sleek, regal, sea creatures. It evolves into derpy warpy, tubby wobby. Magikarp has similar colors to Dragonite. The Japanese legend that Magikarp is based off of is about a carp that became a dragon. There should have maybe been a little switcheroony here, don't you think? Anyway, aside from that, Lance is a hypocrite, as I've mentioned, so that's not really a good example of a Dragonite from the anime or whatever. Who else had a Dragonite that I can use to show this Pokemon's awesomeness? Oh yeah, Mr. Orange Island's champion guy. He had a Dragonite where it lost to an injured Pikachu. An injured Pikachu that lost to a Snivy. Okay, so I guess that's a bad example. Who else had a Dragonite? Oh, Iris had a Dragonite, even though the Dragonite doesn't really like her. I mean, for good reason. I don't either. But as we see how good of a trainer Iris is, she has her Dragonite. She's up against a Druggadon, and she says, Dragonite, use Thunder Punch against a Dragon type. Freaking 3/4 of Dragonite's move arsenal is super effective on Druggadon, and she uses a not very effective Thunder Punch. Heck yeah, I'd hate my trainer too, but no, this is not conclusive or useful on Dragonites. Maybe it'll be cool when Dragonite gets a Mega Form and I can talk about that. Wonder what that Megastone is gonna be called. Dragonite? Dragonite-ite? Oh, maybe that's why it doesn't have a Mega Evolution, of course, because you guys suck at naming things. Anyway, aside from that, careful giving Dragonite an ice pop. It could be fatal. Next, we have Tyranitar, a terrifying Pokemon who, according to the Gold Pokedex, has such a hard body, it can't be harmed by any attack, and it's therefore very eager to make challenges against enemies. What the Pokedex is carefully avoiding to tell you is that Tyranitar is also as bright as Goku, looking for an ass whooping, because freaking everything is super effective on Tyranitar. What Pokemon can you think of that can't learn no water, grass, ground, bug, steel, or fairy type attacks, let alone fighting? One of the most common types, and it's a 4 times weakness for poor Tyranny. For better luck with all that, I suggest Blue Tyranitar. Also, Tyranny ain't outspeeding anyone either. Heck, its name is Tyranitar. It comes from Tyrannosaurus, the dinosaur, and tar, from the Latin word tardus, which literally means slow. Its speed is only 10 points higher than it was a Pupitar, and that was basically a living rock. That's name comes from pupa, the immobile cocoon stage of an insect, and tar, meaning slow. Then the Pupitar Pokedex in Silver says that even when it's sealed in its shell, it's extremely fast. What? How the hell can this thing move fast? Yeah, this Pokedex is noteworthily trustworthy. In Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black, White, X, and Ultra Moon, no, not Y, remember that, it says Pupitar is as hard as bedrock. And in Gold, Heart Gold, Leaf Green, and Y, but not X, glad you remembered, it says Pupitar is as hard as sheetrock. Sheetrock is weak as shit, is, and it's definitely a lot weaker than Bedrock. In Crystal, it says, Pupitar already has extremities in its shell, and in Ultra Moon, it alludes that it doesn't. Obviously, these professor guys have no idea what's happening in there, but it's all good. I can just imagine the first guy training his Pupitar getting frustrated it didn't evolve yet, thinking it's a weird metapod, and boom, it's Tyrannosaurus Hulk Godzilla. Totally worth having one of these, though. Best Pokemon to hang out with ever. The issue is letting it cut loose outside. It might accidentally destroy a city, forest, or mountainside looking for a battle. And, well, letting it cut loose inside, it creates sandstorms. Great. Now that all that's said, think back to the anime for a second, where many of your perceptions of what Tyranny really is comes from. Yes, it's from Pokemon Forever the movie, because that's pretty much the only time we actually ever saw one in the anime. And if you really remember that absolute mad lad badass, it was mutated by the Dark Ball. Before that happened, if you look carefully, it's a timid looking quiver ball. Note the editor, show those last scenes I was talking about from the Pokemon Forever movie. Moving on to Gen 3, the only gen that has 2 pseudo legendaries so far. Firstly, Salamence. It started as Baygon, turned into Shelgon, and since it always dreamed to fly, it then became the ultimate Gen 3 dragon, Flygon. What? Oh, my apologies. So that's the other Gen 3 dragon Pokemon. My bad, it became a Salamence. Totally fits the name theme here, doesn't it? A Pokemon biological growth story, which is so touching to its core and just gives me a feels attack every time I almost don't want to make fun of this majestic, massive, badass dragon. What? Wait, it's not massive? Hold on a second. It's 4'11", but that's the same size as Dunsparce. But in the anime, when Jessie woke one up, it was like massive. And come to think of it, she fooled this apex predator by playing dead. Anyway, enough of that. Okay, I can make fun of Salamence just a little. So Salamence, the boring, underdesigned version of Imperial Dramon from Digimon, was a pretty sick Pokemon, and then Mega happened. And the Crescent Moon Bat Plane hybrid fucked the Star Wars Rebel logo to poop out the Megastone required, because that's exactly what they needed to make Salamence into a spaceship. Get wrecked, Flygon. But little did they know, Mega Salamence has a massive weakness. If it flips onto its back, oh, there is no way in hell it'll flip itself back, because that wing is solid. Laying its fat ass on that solid wing with its tubby little legs flailing in the air, I just made my own day. Next, we have Metagross. It's so meta, it's gross. This hunk of metal can levitate. Not that it has the ability to levitate. An earthquake still will beat the shit out of it. And it also is far more intelligent and can calculate faster than a supercomputer. Still, decides it's worth letting its 10-year-old trainer boss it around, because obviously that kid will totally come up with a better and keener strategy than Metagross itself will. Also, since it's created by merging 2 Metanes, which are each created by merging 2 Beldums, this living tank has 4 freaking brains. And it can still only learn 4 moves. But at least it still has 3.5 more brains than you need to realize. Going up against this thing means you're screwed. I admittedly do not fully get the fusion thing going on here, since in the games you only need 1 Beldum and you don't need any of that polymerization shiz. Probably for good reason. No games give you more than 1 Beldum anyway. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention one little detail about this little feller. Even though all the Pokedex entries talk about basically whatever I mentioned here, there was that one Pokemon Sapphire entry that was somehow swept under the rug. The way Metagross hunts. Well, you see, it finds its prey easily because its genius heat-seeking radar spider tank computer. It pins it with its massive legs and eats them with the mouth on its stomach. Yeah, the anime never shows that mouth on his stomach, even though we get shots from below. It's just sort of flat. Yes, this genderless supercomputer tank eats living Pokemon with its asshole, and I'm sure it's beautiful. Next, we have Garchomp. Yeah, a freaking shark dragon that can fly at supersonic speeds like a jet plane, even though it can't actually learn fly, unlike Golurk, who totally should be able to learn fly. Right, Game Freak? I know. And according to the Pokedex, it's covered in, quote, super fine scales to reduce drag. That means the scales give it the least amount of air friction possible. It also has the hidden ability Rough Skin to make hugging it more fun. Wait, Rough Skin? That's the literal opposite of fine scales. Holy shit, the Pokedex was wrong. You literally cannot find a surface with more friction than rough scales, hence the word rough. Once we're talking about the Pokedex, there's 2 more little points points that I would like to bring up. First is, it took all the way until Pokemon Moon to explain what those two weird hair curlers that are growing out of the side of its head like tumors are. They're actually sensors for prey. God knows what natural way they work. I'd believe it easier if they were grenades stuck to its face, because that fits more into the world of Pokemon. The Pokedex in black and white, those racists. The Pokedex in white and black states that it runs so fast its wings create blades of wind that can cut down nearby trees. Well, I ran the numbers, and apparently to generate that much air pressure into a fine strip like that, Garchomp needs to move like light speed. So whatever professor wrote this down either watched his Pokemon disappear from the space-time continuum and was like, light speed, or he found some really weak-ass trees. People also have this misconception that being a land shark is somehow related to Sharpedo, Pedo, and that's because of the star on its face. People didn't realize that Yellow Blotch is from headbutting a Pikachu because it's just that badass. Heck, it's so badass that Game Freak really busted their bank coming up with a shiny for it. Yeah, looks the fucking same. Bravo, Game Freak, bravo. Note the editor, you know, show shinies, whatever. Oh, but at least they gave it a Mega. Get wrecked, Flygon. Yeah, I'm not gonna be making fun of Gibble here, unfortunately. I already did that in my Every Starter Pokemon vid where I was talking about Piplup and Gibble's Draco Meteors. God bless. Best use the anime actually had for Dawn. Next, there's Hydreigon. No, not a Hydreigon, that's Drampa. Looks like that freaking goat from Hoodwinked. But Hydreigon, a Pokemon that's depicted as evil above all other, further alluding to how dark types are bad guys, those goddamn racists. But I got a ton of requests in my starter Pokemon video for which one of those that I'm covering is actually my favorite, so I guess I'll be doing that in all my future Pokemon Honest descriptions from here on out. My favorite pseudo legendary is Hydreigon. Yes, even over Tyranitar. Another one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. But back to the sarcastic roasting. Despite how much it hurts me, Hydreigon is the brutal Pokemon flying on 6 wings. Yeah, you know, kind of like Satan. He uses its 3 heads to consume and destroy everything in its path. That seems like a threat, and here's the kicker. According to the Pokedex in Pokemon Black, everything that moves seems like a foe, triggering its attack. Yeah, and he's a freaking monster. Its 125 base special attack power is enough to demolish anything with a Draco Meteor, except for like, you know, Clefairy, because obviously it wouldn't affect Clefairy. And even if it lowers its special attack afterwards, it's still chill. It has a crap ton of OP physical attacks and a base stat of 105, and that's over 104! Its name is also a code because it's Hydra Dragon. Hydreigon. Got it? Got it? And Drei, which is German for 3. Svilos is 2, and Dino is 1. So even if you don't speak German, you still know he's gonna annihilate the shit out of you. Holy crap, why doesn't everyone get one? Oh, it's simple. You see, it's because Svilos sucks, and you need an even suckier Dino to get to the level 50, and then you need Svilos to get to level 64 to get this behemoth, which quite frankly is too damn high. No, away Drampa, not that type of high. Also, if you want to know why training to evolve into Hydreigon doesn't only make you a grade A couch potato, but also makes you a horrible person, check out my buddy Loxton's video on the matter, link in the description. Feel free to send my regards in the comments if you go, but basically, cute little Dino has 1 head, becomes Svilos with 2 heads, each with their own personality, and the dominant head becomes Hydreigon, being that the heads on its arms don't have brains. Look in the Pokedex, I don't make this stuff up. Meaning, evolving it killed one of them, and maybe even the little Dino that you trained all the way to level 50. But Hydreigon's still my favorite utter badass, so we're all good. Next, we have Goodra, the first super friendly pseudo-legendary Pokemon, and I kind of feel bad to make fun of it. I almost feel as bad as Goodra felt for Ash, which made Goodra decide to pity join him. Got him! So of course, Ash was so overjoyed to finally have a dragon type and finally have a pseudo-legendary, he let it go 15 episodes later. Yeah, I guess he didn't want a chance of actually winning a tournament. Yeah, that would be too stupid. Yeah, that was legit freaking sad though. Anywho, the Pokedex likes hyping up these pseudo-legendaries by giving him crazy feats. You know, how Dragonite can ram into its opponents flying at 2,500 kilometers per hour, Salamence can ram into opponents at Mach speed, being over 1,200 kilometers per hour, Tyranitar can punch down a mountain range or a city, Garchomp's fast running can chop down trees via air pressure, as I've already calculated. Metagross's Meteor Mash is a steel-type punch near meteor speed at over 40,000 kilometers per hour, and Goodra can be ferocious and can punch at the same strength as 10 pro boxers. Whoa! Yeah, while that's pretty impressive, it's not exactly comparable. 10 boxers, no editor, not those type of boxers. No. Punching ain't leaving a crater taking down mountain ranges or cities, and it definitely ain't breaking the sound barrier. Oh, and the Pokedex also points out how Goodra is gooey, so it has that going for it. It's the third stage form of Goomy, a living snot ball. That's a dragon, unlike Charizard or Gyarados, you know, actual dragons that somehow aren't dragons, like this living snot ball of myth and legend. And I also have to say this because I research heavily for these honest descriptions, and I'm not sure what I was expecting when I look up Ash hugging Goodra. I'm ready to tear up. What a terribly sad scene from the anime. Holy hell, is there a lot of porn of a literal snot dragon? Why does this exist? No one should have a fetish for actual living sticky shit. Oh my god. Moving on. You guys sicken me sometimes. Anyway, Kommo-o, a fighting type dragon just to rub in that fairy type weakness a little more, to the point that if a floating keychain winks at this massive behemoth, it'll beat the shit out of it at 4 times the power. Oh, and remember when I just called it a behemoth like 3 seconds ago? Well, good memory, fam. That's because of all the images and depictions of Kommo-o somehow try to express it to be a frightening Goliath. It's a puny 5 foot 3 inches. I have shits taller than this walking wind chime. Okay, that may have been a slight exaggeration, but only slight. Put 10 bucks on the table, Machamp would beat the living snot out of Kommo-o. No wonder the Pokedex says in the olden times they would use Kommo-o's armor as ingredients for tools. Yeah, well, I didn't say that about Tyranitar's bedrock or sheetrock armor. Oh, yeah, that's because Tyranitar would wipe out the village if you pissed it off, whereas Kommo-o, a good martial artist, would destroy it in a fight. And yippee, they got its armor. Speaking of its armor, there is a legend that, quote, Kommo-o is actually covered in glittering scales in order to drive away the great darkness covering the world. Oh boy. Shame Kommo-o doesn't realize in order for anything to glitter, there needs to be a reflection of actual pre-existing light, but okay. The reason these Pokemon seek out battle is to gain the power needed to defeat this darkness. There's almost no info around on Kommo-o yet to fully, honestly describe him, but this is just wonderful. They seek out power to defeat darkness. Well, assuming there really is this darkness, it's obviously not pure evil, because Kommo-o attacking everything that moves to get stronger, that's pretty pure evil, so Kommo-o should be the darkness. So I assume the darkness is something else. So aside from glittering scales not doing crap, sorry about that strategy of yours, Kommo-o, these Pokemon have inbred in their own biology to fight, get strong, and beat the darkness. But bruh, that means they do a really sucky job. Since the first Kommo-o walked the earth, it's been failing the one duty it has, because apparently there's still this darkness around. I don't know, fanbase. I kind of think Kommo-o is the perfect paradigm for a case of paranoid schizophrenia, and it's no coincidence that in all my time professionally playing Pokemon, I honestly can't remember ever fighting even one of these guys. And in professional battles, you see everything. I fought more level 1 nose passes than I fought Kommo-os. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this honest description on Pokemon, feel free to subscribble and let me know what group of Pokemon you want next. Also, I plan on doing a bit of in-depth analyses on Pokemon in the future, so I hope you're interested. Huge thanks to the fan base that's supporting me on Patreon, especially the 3 swag coggers, Molten Scott, you, and someone else who doesn't want me to tell you their name. Huge thanks to the 2 Lord Tweegers, Illumsan and Galactic, and thanks to the God Usopp tier, JD Fincher and Ezedric. I hugely appreciate all the support you guys give me. I love you guys. Have yourself a most wonderful evening, and remember, stay weird, fam.